Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Learn. I'm Eva.
And I'm Mark. Great to have you with us today.
You know, Mark, I want to ask you something honest. Have you ever been in a situation where someone started talking to you in English, maybe at a coffee shop or while waiting somewhere, and you just froze? You knew the words, but nothing came out?
Oh, absolutely. I remember one time I was at a bookstore, and this friendly person next to me said something like, "Nice weather today, right?" And I just nodded and smiled, like I couldn't speak at all. Inside my head, I was panicking, thinking, what do I say now? Do I talk about the weather? Do I ask a question? It felt so uncomfortable.
Exactly. And that's the big problem so many English learners face. It's not that they don't know English, it's that they don't know how to keep a conversation going. They don't know how to respond naturally when someone talks to them in everyday situations. And today, we're going to solve that problem for you.
Yes, by the end of this lesson, you're going to learn a simple method to talk with anyone, anywhere, without feeling nervous or running out of things to say. We're going to show you how native speakers actually keep conversations alive, and we'll give you real sentences you can use starting today.
So, if you've ever felt stuck in a conversation, or if you avoid talking to people because you're worried you won't know what to say, stay with us. This episode is going to change the way you speak English in real life.
All right, Eva, let's start with the most important question. Why do so many English learners struggle with casual conversations? I mean, they study grammar, they learn vocabulary, but when it comes to just chatting with someone, they freeze.
It's because most English courses teach you how to answer questions, but they don't teach you how to continue a conversation. Think about it. In a textbook, you learn to say, "I'm fine, thank you." But then what? The conversation dies right there. In real life, people don't just answer and stop. They add something extra. They share a little bit about themselves. They ask something back. That's what keeps the conversation moving.
Right. So the secret is not just answering, it's responding in a way that invites the other person to keep talking. And that's a skill. It's something you can learn and practice. You don't need to be naturally outgoing or super confident. You just need to know a simple formula.
Exactly. And here's the formula. When someone asks you a question or says something to you, you do three things. First, you give a short answer. Second, you add one extra sentence with a little detail. And third, you turn it back to them with a question or a comment that keeps the door open.
Let me give you an example. Let's say someone asks you, "Do you like coffee?" Most learners will just say, "Yes, I like coffee," and then silence. But if you use the formula, you say something like this: "Yes, I love coffee. I usually drink it in the morning to wake up. How about you? Are you a coffee person?"
See how that works? You answered yes, you added a small detail about when you drink it, and then you asked them something back. Now the conversation can continue. The other person has something to respond to. They might say, "Oh, I'm more of a tea drinker," or "I need coffee all day long." And now you're talking.
Exactly. And this works for almost any topic. Someone says, "Nice weather today." You don't just say, "Yes, it's nice." You say, "Yes, it's beautiful. I love sunny days like this. It makes me want to go for a walk." Do you usually spend time outside when the weather's good?
Perfect. Now the conversation has direction. You're not just agreeing, you're sharing something about yourself and giving them a chance to share something too. This is how friendships start. This is how professional connections happen. This is how you stop feeling like an outsider in English-speaking environments.
Now let's talk about the most common mistake learners make when they try to have these casual conversations. Ava, what do you think it is?
The biggest mistake is giving answers that are too short or too formal. For example, someone asks, "How was your weekend?" And the learner says, "It was good." That's it, nothing else. Or they say something very stiff like, "It was satisfactory. Thank you for inquiring." That sounds like a robot, not a real person.
Exactly. In casual conversation, people don't talk like textbooks. They talk like humans. They use simple words. They share feelings. They make it personal. So instead of saying, "It was good," you could say, "It was really nice. I spent time with my family and we watched a movie together. It was relaxing." What about you? What did you do?
Yes, and notice how that response feels warm and friendly. You're not bragging, you're not giving too much information, you're just being normal. And that makes the other person feel comfortable talking to you.
Another common mistake is waiting too long to respond because you're trying to think of the perfect thing to say. But here's the truth. There is no perfect thing to say. Small talk is not about being clever or impressive. It's about being present and friendly.
That's so important, Mark. If someone says something to you and you take 10 seconds to respond because you're translating in your head or searching for a perfect sentence, it feels awkward. The other person might think you're not interested. So instead, just say something simple and natural, even if it's not perfect. It's better to respond quickly and simply than to stay silent.
Let me give you some ready-to-use responses you can practice right now. These are sentences you can memorize and use in real situations. Ready?
Yes, let's do it. Someone says, "How are you today?" You can say, "I'm doing well, thanks. Just finished work and feeling a bit tired. How about you?"
Someone says, "What do you do?" You can say, "I work in marketing. It's busy but interesting. I get to work with different people every day. What about you? What do you do?"
Someone says, "Have you been here before?" You can say, "No, this is my first time. I've heard good things about this place, though. Do you come here often?"
Someone says, "It's so cold today." You can say, "I know, right? I wasn't expecting it to be this cold. I should have brought a warmer jacket. Are you used to this kind of weather?"
See how natural those sound? They're not complicated. They're just real responses that people actually use. And each one has the same formula: a short answer, a little extra detail, and then a question or comment that invites the other person to continue.
Now, let's talk about how to keep a conversation going when you don't know what to say next. This is where a lot of learners panic. They start a conversation okay, but then after 2 or 3 exchanges, they run out of things to talk about. Eva, what's the solution here?
The solution is to listen for connection points. When the other person is talking, they're giving you clues about what they're interested in. Maybe they mention something about their weekends, their job, their hobbies, or their family. Whatever they mention, you can pick up on that and ask a follow-up question or share something related.
Right. For example, let's say someone tells you, "I went hiking this weekend." Now you have a connection point. You can say, "Oh, that sounds fun. Where did you go hiking?" Or you can say, "I've never been hiking before. Is it difficult?" Or you can say, "I love being outdoors too. I usually go for long walks in the park. Do you hike often?"
Exactly. You're not changing the topic. You're staying with what they said and building on it. This shows that you're actually listening and that you care about what they're saying. And people love when someone listens to them.
Another tip is to have a few safe topics ready in your mind. These are topics that almost everyone can talk about. Things like weekend plans, favorite foods, places you visited, hobbies, or even something simple like the weather or a recent event.
Yes, and you don't need to be an expert on these topics. You just need to be curious. For example, if someone mentions they love cooking, you don't need to know how to cook. You can just say, "That's cool. What kind of dishes do you like to make?" "I'm not good at cooking, but I love eating. Do you have a favorite recipe?"
Perfect. You're being honest about yourself and you're showing interest in them. That's all small talk really is. It's two people sharing little pieces of their lives in a friendly, relaxed way.
Now let's practice a full conversation from start to finish so you can hear how all of this comes together. Mark, let's imagine we just met at a training workshop during a coffee break. I'll start. So, Mark, are you enjoying the workshop so far?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I'm learning a lot about communication skills, which is something I want to improve. How about you? Is this your first workshop like this?
No, I've been to a couple before, but this one seems really practical. I like that they're giving us real examples we can use at work. Do you work in a field where communication is important?
Yes, I work in customer service, so I'm talking to people all day. Sometimes it's challenging, but I enjoy helping people solve their problems. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a teacher, so I totally understand. Communication is everything in my job, too. I'm always looking for ways to explain things more clearly to my students. Do you find that people appreciate it when you really listen to them?
Definitely. I think that's the most important part. When people feel heard, they're usually much easier to work with. Have you been teaching for a long time?
About 5 years now. It's been a great experience. Every class is different, and I learn something new from my students all the time. Do you think you'll stay in customer service, or do you have other career plans?
I'm actually thinking about moving into training or coaching, maybe something like what we're learning today. I enjoy one-on-one conversations and helping people grow. That's why I signed up for this workshop.
That makes a lot of sense. You seem like you'd be great at that. Well, it was really nice talking to you, Mark.
You too, Eva. Let's grab coffee again after the next session.
Sounds good. See you then.
All right, so that was a full conversation using the principles we've been teaching. Did you notice how we never ran out of things to say? Every response had a little detail, and every response led to the next question naturally.
Exactly. And we covered different topics. We started with the workshop, moved to our jobs, talked about communication, and ended with future plans. The conversation flowed because we were listening to each other and building on what the other person said.
Now, I want to give you a challenge. After this episode, I want you to practice having one small conversation in English with someone. It could be a classmate, a colleague, a neighbor, or even someone online. Use the formula we taught you. Give an answer, add a little detail, and ask something back. That's it. Just try it once.
And don't worry about being perfect. The goal is not to sound like a native speaker right away. The goal is to practice being comfortable and natural. The more you do this, the easier it will become. Small talk is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice.
One more thing before we finish. A lot of learners think they need to talk about deep or important topics to have a good conversation, but that's not true. Some of the best connections happen when you're just talking about simple, everyday things. You don't need to discuss politics, philosophy, or complicated ideas. Just be yourself, be friendly, be curious about the other person. That's enough.
Yes, and remember, when you're having small talk, the goal is not to impress the other person. The goal is to make them feel comfortable. When people feel comfortable with you, they'll want to talk to you more. They'll remember you. And that's how real relationships are built, whether it's friendships, professional connections, or just nice moments with strangers.
So, let's quickly recap what we've learned today. First, small talk is a skill you can learn. It's not about being naturally outgoing. It's about using a simple formula. Answer the question, add one extra sentence with a detail, and then turn it back to them with a question or comment.
And second, listen for connection points. When someone is talking, they're giving you clues about what to say next. Pick up on those clues and build the conversation from there.
Third, don't wait for the perfect response. It's better to say something simple and natural than to stay silent while you're thinking. Small talk is not about being impressive. It's about being present and friendly.
And finally, practice. The only way to get better at this is to actually do it. Have conversations, make mistakes, learn from them. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
All right, everyone, that's it for today's episode. We really hope this lesson helps you feel more confident the next time someone starts a conversation with you in English. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing to try.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with someone who's learning English. And let us know in the comments, what's the hardest part of small talk for you? We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep speaking English every single day.
Take care and see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.